Hey fellas, this is Achilles. Today I'm gonna be talking about a very old build. We're gonna go and utilize bombardment, Crusader bombardment thorns. A while ago, a good friend of mine introduced this idea to me, and I tried to utilize it to the best of my ability to see if I can fit it into the current solo meta, and I think it's somewhat viable. Maybe a few tiers behind the top end Crusaders, but still viable. So we're gonna be utilizing the 6-piece account set, just like the old build, but with the changes to the Invoker set, which now the 2-piece gives us 350% thorns. We're gonna use 2-piece Invoker, 6-piece account. In order to use the Endless Walk set, which I'm using here, we need to use the Ring of Royal Grandeur in the cube. If you're in season, you can obviously replace this with Convention of Elements. As you can see, I'm using 6-piece account, 2-piece Invoker, Endless Walk set, Justice Lantern, Multi-Drama for double damage pretty much. It doubles the number of bombardments from 5 to 10. And Akarat's Awakening, which is a must. It's the bread and butter of all the Thorn builds. So the idea here is to attack fast or block as much as possible to gain maximum stacks of the 2-piece Invoker, to maybe get close to 25 stacks, and therefore gives us a huge boost to our Thorn, which it then increased by our account set, and deal damage in forms of bombardment. And this beautiful Sanguinary Vambrace is an item that was fixed a couple of patches ago. I can't remember what patch. Now it benefits from all your damage increase. Everything that buffs your character, this item now get those damage increases. So this potentially does 30% of our damage, and bombardment is gonna do the rest. We're using Blood Brother, which is an item I love, for potentially for probably just for the block, but it potentially can give us some damage increase as well, with a little bit of tweak in our gameplay, which I'm gonna show you guys in a Greater Rift environment. Also, it gives us a 30% flat damage reduction due to the fact that we're gonna be sitting in density and blocking 24/7. For our gems, I'll be using Bane of the Stricken, Bane of the Trapped, and Boyarsky's Chip, which is our Thorn. We want to get pretty high Thorn. I don't have maximum Thorn here, just because some of the gear that I'm using are not utilized with Thorn. As you can see, I don't have Thorn on my headpiece, on my pants. Plus, some pieces cannot get Thorn, like Justice Lantern. But, like, I'm missing 9,000 Thorn here. Missing 3k. So, for our belt spot, I think Belt of the Trove is the best option. This is obviously not a necessity, because we are not using 4-piece Invoker, so we don't need that constant bombardment for our damage reduction. But there's nothing else that can boost us with damage this much. I'm obviously using a 6-second damage one. Traditionally, we used to use 8-second, and try to line it up with our physical, so it always lands on physical. It's a very AIDS gameplay. Even if I was using COE, I wouldn't be using that, because that requires us to actually stop, not doing any damage, stay away from mobs, wait for the cycle of either holy, I believe, or physical, and then go to the range of mobs, because this item activates as soon as a mob is in range of bombardment. And then from then on forward, it always does the damage on physical. You can do that, obviously, if you are using COE and you're in season. For the time being, we're just gonna use a 6-second belt. Let's get into our the spells and how the build works. Obviously, we have the bombardment, Barrels of Spike. For damage reduction purposes and also Thorn, we're going to be using Iron Skin, which thanks to our shield should be very high uptime, close to 100%. Laws of Justice, Decaying Strength, just purely for defensive purposes. I'm going to be using Punish as a generator, although we don't need a generator, but it gives me a 15% attack speed increase as well as 15% needed block chance. With this, I should be gaining close to the maximum 2-piece invoker. Steed Charge, Draw and Quarter, because I want to pull in mobs that are not attacking me or that are not close enough so I can create density. Acro Champion, Prophet. I'm using heavily Strength because I'm using a two-handed weapon. Iron Maiden, you can't change that. This is your 50% Thorn damage increase. Lord Commander, just so we get that cooldown reduction on bombardment. 35% cooldown reduction on bombardment is huge, because the spell is a 60-second cooldown, so you want to reduce it as much as you can and then further reduce it by your cooldown reduction, as well as the Akarat's Awakening shield that we're using here. Every time we block, well, if I had a better version of that, it would be 25% chance to reduce all of your cooldowns by 1 second. So that allows us to spam bombardment as often as possible. And I'm gonna be using Hold Your Ground for 30% more block. I believe if you have block everywhere, one of these two becomes unnecessary. I believe you can maybe change Punish, but for now and for demonstration purpose of this build and this setup, I'm going to be using both. As you can see right now, I have 94% block. That tooltip of 75% block is obviously wrong. It's been changed a while ago. You can get 100%, which we are going to get with our Punish Celerity. Every time we attack, we get 15%. Above 100 doesn't give you extra blocks, so this is the build, and I'll be attempting for the first time, believe it or not, to see if we can do clear. I believe we should be able to do a 110, but we'll see. Okay. If you guys remember, I told you guys I'm gonna tell you a trick to use with Blood Brother. Blood Brother activates on your next attack. So I have to stop punishing. Basically, I'm holding down my left click, which is my punish. But then when my bombardment is up for use, I'm gonna let go of punish, press bombardment, and then click punish again. The reason for that is, if I don't do that, the Blood Brother damage increase is gonna be applied to punish rather than bombardment. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Oh boy, I can see this build do some beautiful damage with the COE. Okay, let's get us good mobs. The 2-piece, when we get to max stacks, which we are right now, 25 stacks, is well, potentially with the maximum number of thorns on a year, potentially can give you up to 33 million thorns, which is huge considering it's going to be multiplied by a con. So with a little bit of strength, the output damage is upward of 30 trillion, I believe. Bombardment calculation for the damage happens when you activate the bombardment rather than when it lands. So this is a very small thing, but just so you know the mechanic. For instance, this Iron Skin, it only buffs our thorn, our base thorn, and not what we get from Invoker. But for the mechanic's sake, if I press it and it's active and I activate my bombardment, they're landing right now, yet I don't have Iron Skin. It still calculates that Iron Skin in the calculation of the damage. We still get that 300% thorn. That is true with every additive buff, additive buff rather than multipliers, which I don't think I have the time to fit all of that information in this video. But if you guys are keen about these additive and multiplicative buffs, I am happy to make a video, but since it's not an easy task, please leave me a comment down below so I know that it has recipients. The damage is crazy. You guys can see the numbers, right? The main way of us getting stacks is through block rather than attack. The shield pylon does not stop us from blocking. You still block while you're not taking any damage. But since we're using a two-handed weapon, our attack speed is pretty miserably low. So we want to get into affixes to gain block in order to get the 2-piece Invoker. So as you can see, when the density drops, our stacks goes really low. See if we can drag this guy up. Is dead finally. So we want to be sitting in density. Oh, that's really good. Aki is a multiplier, so therefore, if you're going into Aki, it has to be when those bombardment barrels land, rather than when you cast it. So technically, you can press it and go to an Aki. If our friend doesn't go under the ground, he will take considerable amount of damage. As you guys can see, with even 100% block chance, we still need to get into the density in order to do big damage. That was our braces. I didn't even press bombardment. As you guys saw, it killed the yellow from 18%, 20% health. Oh. Might as well. Oh. See if we can grab these and bring him upstairs. I think we're gonna proc here from our Acra, then heal up. There you go. Almost there you go. God, these maps are amazing, aren't they? Hack and slash gameplay with no hack and slash. Well, might as well do another bombardment and kill as much as we can here. Yeah. Oh, look at this, lucky me. Another small map. I believe these attacks can be blocked. These spinning attacks, yep, as you can see we're going to almost maximum. I'll wait for one of them to attack me, then I activate my bombardment to inflict maximum damage. This is not a good idea, sitting in low density, but due to our map, we have no choice. Okay. Oh, thank God. That's a good amount of trash. Unfortunately, not the affixes nor the... Oh, wow. Not the affixes nor the trash is good enough, so we can gain any um, reasonable amount of stacks to kill stuff. Maybe trying this one. Well, we decimated the trash and we left with the elite. That's why we grabbed draw and quarter, so we can make density. Oh, we might be cutting this close. We didn't get a good map. These maps are not an ideal situation for this build. You want, well, you want Gandhi. You want big map with a lot of density, as you are thriving on density to Scandial. I don't believe he has any affix that's gonna help us. I don't believe that. Oh god. Oh, I can block the ads. I forgot about that. As you guys can see, we are demolishing the ads, demolishing the density, and the weakness of this set is obviously single target. I don't think I can block Arcane. Yep, as you can see, I'm sitting on it and nothing happens but just my health going down for no reason. Are we gonna win? No. Wow. Well, we didn't manage to clear it, but you guys get the idea. My gear is nowhere near optimal. I will explain the stat that we need for this build. As this is a thorns build, we obviously want thorns everywhere. Invoker innately comes with thorns, so the 2-piece Invoker always gonna have thorns on them. But the Archon set, we need to get as much thorn as possible on them. I'm using my Condemn build, therefore I don't have thorns on a lot of pieces, but the other thing we need is attack speed. We are using a two-handed weapon, and it is almost impossible to get the invoker stacks by just attacking. We get a stack every time we attack with punish, slash, or with block. So we mainly relying on blocking. But getting attack speed on every piece that you can get is gonna give you that boost of what you need to gain that couple extra stacks. So we're gonna be getting attack speed everywhere because there's no other stats we want besides attack speed and CDR. So attack speed and CDR obviously for gaining our abilities back, bombardment, accurate, the law of justice for damage reduction, and iron skin obviously 50% damage reduction again. So we want cooldown and attack speed everywhere. I utilize some life per hit because I think we need it, as we can't just rely on Acra champion healing up to full HP every time we die. I have a little bit of area damage, which this build can benefit from area damage, as bombardment. The bombardment we use is gonna get affected by area damage, so it's a choice between getting area damage or life per hit. So as I said, my build is not optimized, but you guys get the idea. I hope you like this build, and please leave a comment down below and let me know if you guys are actually interested in me explaining the game mechanic in general, the gems, multipliers, additive options, or the 4-man meta. So I'll get on that and make you guys a video. Thank you.